Hey everybody, it's your favorite traveler in the entire world, Imani B, and I'm back in these YouTube streets. This is actually a very special video for me. I'm really excited because I began an initiative that I started on TikTok and Instagram. I posted a couple of YouTube shorts here for you all to watch, but if you want to watch the whole series of videos, you can definitely check out my TikTok and my Instagram pages. But the initiative that I am proud to announce that I am going live for tomorrow night here on YouTube to announce is my paid passport initiative. I'm very excited about this. I'm really excited about this because a couple of months ago, I paid for a mom of 4 to get her passport. And somewhere in my loins, in spirit, God, all the things, we're saying this is something that I need to do on a larger scale. And I just pulled the trigger on it and I say, you know what? I really want to do this in a major way. I want to make sure my people, my folks have a level of access, have a level of privilege that I have had over these years. For those of you who have followed me for a little while, and for those of you who may not have followed me for some time, I've had the blessing of living around the world. I've lived in 5 countries. I've had the blessing of traveling around the world. And something that I've recognized as a Black person, as a Muslim, as a woman, is that all of the stigmas that exist in the world kind of dissipate when you get an opportunity to actually be in the world, to see yourself in the world, and to see what it is that you're made of. So this initiative has a goal of getting 100 paid passport fees, okay? So ultimately, the rules, how the guidelines work for this particular initiative that I've started is that people submit through my submission form, okay? They fill out the submission form. Through the submission form, that allows me to be able to randomly select. This is a random selection of people, right? Randomly select a name, and that person will allow me to pay for their passport book and the processing fee. Right? So I'm taking everyone that's over the age of 18 because I don't want any issues, right? Even though the US regulation says at 16 you're an adult, your mama might not think that. Your daddy might not think that. And so I don't want to deal with any of that. So everyone over 18 can submit to this form. Now, on YouTube, I'm going to go live tomorrow night, December 31st at 11 p.m. And once we get that countdown to 1 and we hit midnight and it is January 1st, 2025, I am going to announce 3 people, 3 names of folks who I am going to bless with paying for their passport book and that processing fee. So I'm really excited. Also, there were a lot of people that when I announced that I wanted to do this, we're like, hey, how can I support this? How can I, be a part of monetarily supporting someone getting their passport? And so I created a campaign with Give, Send, Go. And Give, Send, Go is very similar to any type of crowdfunding campaign that allows people to donate, contribute, and be a part of really awesome initiatives. And so this paid passport initiative, a lot of people were saying, hey, I want to donate and I want to be a part of it too. So if you want to donate, you want to be a part of it. I told people I don't want anybody to give me a Venmo or a Cash App or a Zelle or anything like that. I want everything to be transparent. The money that I'm paying out of my pocket on behalf of this initiative is coming from my TikTok Creator Fund. But I wanted to use my Creator Fund money to be able to bless people. And the reason being is in 2015, I moved abroad. I've talked about this a lot. There's a video here on my channel. In 2015, I booked a one-way ticket to Cairo, Egypt. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what life had in store for me. I did not have a job lined up. But what I did have is the will to survive and thrive, and knowing that there was something else out there in the world for me. I've talked about this via writing articles about it. I have an article in Condé Nast Traveler about me moving to a city called Maadi in Cairo, Egypt. And literally I booked a one-way ticket. I didn't even have enough money to get a round trip ticket. I didn't even think about getting a round trip ticket. I literally booked the one-way ticket because I wanted out. I wanted out of the United States. I wanted out of the rat race. I wanted out of being someone who had a degree, but for some reason couldn't find any paid gigs in broadcasting in my field of journalism. And I felt like I had paid my dues enough in my career that I didn't want to start off getting coffee. And I was like, I don't want that. But I was also somebody who was living off of food stamps. I had SNAP benefits, I had EBT, because I couldn't afford to feed myself. And I was working 2 jobs, and I was broadcasting on the weekends for months on end, year after year, and I just wasn't where it is that I felt like I wanted to be in my life, especially heading towards the age of 30. And I remember working a temp job, and the same way that Spirit spoke to me and said, you need to do this passport initiative, is the same way it spoke to me and said, you need to move abroad. I started doing my research, and within less than a month, I had booked that one-way ticket to Cairo, Egypt. And like I said, I didn't even have a job lined up. And when I landed, literally the next day, I went to a school with my resume in hand, with my degree in hand, 3 hours worth of interviews, and I got a job teaching. And the rest is history. I've lived in 5 countries. I gave birth to my son abroad. I have raised a third culture kid who is multilingual, and I have enjoyed being able to watch what it is that I was made of. I went from being extremely despondent and very discouraged about where my life was going, where the trajectory of my career was going, to taking that chance on me with only $400 to my name. $400, that's it. That's not a lot of money abroad. And post-COVID, that's not the smartest idea, especially because safety-wise, you never know what can happen. You should always have a nest egg or savings, but I was desperate. And all I had was fortitude and faith. So ultimately, I made the decision for myself to say, you know what, there's something else greater for me. And someone put in the comments under one of my TikTok videos about this passport initiative, because people were saying, hey, there may be some programs that if folks are on EBT or SNAP, that will help you to get a passport, which is always great. I love when community comes together, especially on social media, and they provide solutions versus problems, or versus critique that doesn't really help us move the needle forward. And so someone commented under there and said, if someone's poor, pretty much they can't travel. You need to just give them money for food or rent or whatever the case. And I want to push back on that, and I push back on it on my TikTok, and I'm going to push back on it here on my YouTube channel, because I want y'all to understand that being poor, right, is systemic, just like everything else. And poor people should have access to anything, like anyone else. And I think, unfortunately, when we look at things like travel, obviously it's a privilege. It is absolutely a privilege. It costs money. But when we look at how other folks are able to travel, folks aren't necessarily pulling money straight out of their bank account. They're not using cash from their checking or their savings. They're using credit, another system. They are building points and miles, another system. Your favorite travel influencers, they're not paying for their own flights. A brand is paying for that. A hotel is hosting them, or a resort, a destination is hosting them. They're eating for free because they're creating something in exchange, content, another system, right? And everyone of privilege seems to be able to access these systems, and that's okay. But when we talk about poor people, for some reason people are like, oh, let them eat cake. Give them a Coke and a smile. I guess you could consider, poor people when I booked my one-way flight to Cairo. When I was a college-educated young woman who was trying to thrive in her career, but no one would hire her. And I had very, very little options to matriculate through the career, in which I ended up with student loan debt for. Had I not had a passport, had I not bet on myself, had I not taken the opportunities I probably would have never had my son. I probably would have never lived in all the places that I live. I probably would have never become an award-winning journalist and had the multitude of experiences that I've had worldwide. If somebody would have just wrote me off and said, oh, she's poor, don't give her a passport, I wouldn't have done half the things I've been able to do in this life and in this world. And so I want people to stay away from this idea that poverty shouldn't allow you the ability of privilege, that poverty shouldn't allow you the ability to access. And so this initiative is much more than just paying people's passport fees. A passport is a federal government ID. You don't need a supplemental ID when you have a passport. That stands alone. That in and of itself is safety for a lot of people, especially in the age where they're saying that you're going to need a real ID and everyone's going to need a real ID. A passport is a real ID. Also, I want to break the cycles of exclusion. A lot of my community were not allowed that global mobility that we have now. And so when we talk about being granted the opportunity to attain one, there is a certain level of inclusivity that is required for that. And I want that for my people. And so I'm gonna ask y'all 5 things. 5 things that I need y'all to do. Number 1, hit the bell so you can make sure that you see any video that I have come up. Subscribe to my channel and share it with folks, please. Also, if you're someone who is interested in getting your passport booked and fees paid for, this is your first passport, this is not for renewals, and this is not for anyone under the age of 18, please click the link. The link for the submission form is in my bio. If you're someone who monetarily would like to contribute and think that this is a great initiative and you want to be a part of the solution of giving people access and privilege and safety, please also click the link. I have my Give, Send, Go campaign in this video, so please click the link there. And the last thing, number 5, that I need y'all to do, be here on live tomorrow night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Listen, y'all, okay? I'm a geriatric millennial. My bedtime is really like 9:30. So I myself am going to have to set an alarm and get myself refreshed, spray my face with some rose water, and get myself prepared for this evening, for tomorrow evening. Because usually your girl is in bed before midnight, well before midnight, okay? But I need y'all, that 5th thing, I need y'all to be here tomorrow night, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because I am going to draw 3 names live on YouTube, live on TikTok, of the first 3 people who are going to be awarded their passport paid fees coming into the new year of 2025. So please join me here. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, please put them down below. And don't forget, if you want to apply, the submission link is below. If you want to contribute, the submission link is below. And also, if you want to be a part of the magic of blessing folks going into 2025, be here tomorrow night, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I appreciate y'all so much. See y'all tomorrow night.